Welcome to this new automotive news video, the first one of this new week of July 2026. Today we're going to talk about an incredible story involving BYD, which simply lied to its customers, about Mercedes, which is sinking so deep into crisis that it has come to ask its employees for unthinkable things, and about Audi, which is updating its best-selling model in France, and about Stellantis, which, against all odds, has been secretly developing a new six-cylinder engine for several months. I hope the first topics of this week will interest you. If that's the case, as usual, I'm counting on you to show it by leaving a like and subscribing for upcoming videos. If that option is available to you, boosting this video is really the most important thing. If you want to give my channel more visibility, you can also, of course, leave a comment where you share your opinion about today's news. Just before all that, I'm adding two more topics for you. The first one comes from Bugatti, as an era is ending. The last Bugatti with a W16 engine has just rolled out of the factory. After 20 years of service, this unique engine, one of a kind since it's a W16 with 8 liters of displacement and 4 turbochargers, which allowed Bugatti, for example, to break the 400 km/h barrier for the first time in a production car. It is bowing out to make way for another engine, the new naturally aspirated V16 hybrid that will power the brand's future models. Another Mercedes news item, which we'll discuss in more detail after this on a different topic. Remember the much criticized Mercedes-AMG GT 4-door electric? A car that was heavily criticized for its exterior design, for the overuse of screens inside, and for the lack of any internal combustion or hybrid powertrain in the lineup. We have confirmation from Mercedes that this car should never have seen the light of day. It should have been canceled, but the problem was that Mercedes had already lost too much money with the cancellation of various electric car programs, and with the commercial flop of 2 other electric models, the EQS and EQE. Failures that reportedly cost Mercedes more than 5 billion euros. At the time, they reportedly considered simply canceling the project to make an electric 4-door GT, except the project was both too expensive and too far along to stop it before it hit the market. A wild decision by Mercedes, but that's not the only one we'll discuss today. Things aren't going very well at Mercedes, and it's pushing the company to ask some pretty incredible things from its employees. So, to give a bit of context, let's start with a few numbers, just to better understand where Mercedes stands right now. The big problem at the star brand isn't that the company makes more money when it sells cars. It's that it makes a lot less than before. Due to sharply lower sales in China, high production costs in German factories, and major investments in electric vehicles and new models, Mercedes is facing challenges. It estimates that the margin of its automotive division will only be 4 to 4.1% by the end of the year, a level considered much too low for a premium brand, which are normally more used to having margins around 10%. To try to increase this margin, Mercedes has launched a major cost-cutting plan called Next Level Performance, with a very clear objective: reduce the production cost of each vehicle by 10% by 2027. And now, it's the employees who are directly being called upon to contribute. Because to save some money, the brand has just announced to its 90,000 employees that they will not receive it this year. But in 2026, their transformation bonus will be postponed to 2027. At the same time, they are being asked to accept working 40 hours paid for 35. These announcements have clearly sparked anger in Germany. In early July, over 33,000 employees protested at Mercedes locations. The powerful IG Metall union accused management of making employees pay for the group's strategic mistakes, while shareholders, who meanwhile continued to receive significant dividends. The Works Council also believes that these measures deeply demotivate employees and are even counterproductive. The problem is that, in the meantime, Mercedes continues to see its sales decline. For example, in the second quarter of 2026, global sales fell by 8%. German factories now have to deal with another concern, since they will have to compete with other internal Mercedes factories, especially the one at the new Hungarian site, capable of producing 400,000 vehicles per year at much lower cost than the German factories. This tug-of-war now goes beyond salary issues. It's simply the future of German automobile factories that's at stake. Clearly, the news hasn't been kind to car manufacturers. This time, it's BYD that's at the center of a rather incredible controversy, after admitting that it had lied to its customers. Clearly, nothing is going right at BYD. After a 30% drop in sales and falling out of the top 10 global car brands a few weeks ago, now, at the worst possible moment, a new scandal breaks out. BYD admits to having lied and selling new cars that were actually used cars. A rather incredible situation that can be explained by the brand's success because its order books were already full. BYD wanted to satisfy some of its customers who had signed up to buy a new car by delivering used cars that were already in stock, so that they wouldn't get too impatient. But this rush eventually backfired on the brand, since the customers actually thought they had received a brand new 2026 model, but they ended up with a vehicle assembled in 2025. This might seem like a minor issue since the 2026 BYD cars are almost the same as the 2025 ones. Except that customers are complaining that the 2025 cars are simply worth less on the used market than the 2026 ones, and that by providing them with 2025 model year vehicles instead of 2026 BYD had accelerated the decrease in value of their cars. A decrease that, in some cases, especially when we're talking about electric cars, could increase the loss by several thousand euros. In response to this controversy, some are even calling it deception, since BYD didn't inform its customers. There was no mutual agreement. They didn't offer to provide them with a model in stock to speed up delivery times. They didn't say anything to them. To calm the anger of customers, the manufacturer first offered compensation of about 650 euros, an amount considered trivial by many buyers, which only fueled the controversy even more. BYD was eventually forced to completely change its position. The brand is now required to fully reimburse customers who wish to return their car in order to receive, this time, a model from the correct year. This is a case that could leave a mark on BYD because beyond the mistake, it is above all the customers' trust that is being severely tested today, especially for this new brand that didn't even exist for us a few years ago, or at least wasn't known in Europe. Also because it's not the first time there have been, let's say, some rather strange stories coming from BYD. It's a new crisis of confidence or renewed doubts about their legitimacy. That's probably the last thing the manufacturer needed right now. While BYD is trying to restore its customers' trust, Audi prefers to take the lead. The brand has already announced an update to its best-selling model in France less than a year after its launch. Indeed, the third generation of the Audi Q3 is already being updated for 2027, even though it was released in 2026. There is no exterior facelift. It's the same car on the outside. On the other hand, Audi has taken the opportunity to enhance the standard technological features of its compact SUV. For its 2027 model year, it gets even closer to the Q5, Q6, and Q7. It can now be equipped, as an option, with a new 10.9-inch touchscreen for the front passenger. Meanwhile, the standard equipment has been upgraded with the addition of heated front seats, a rear-view camera, dual-zone automatic climate control, as well as keyless entry and start. Audi is also revising its option packages to offer more customizable equipment to better meet customer needs. The manufacturer didn't just add a few features, they're also improving the technology side. The adaptive cruise control is now able to use online data to anticipate the average speed of a route. As a result, it adjusts speeds and safety distances more precisely, even steering guidance when it's working with lane keeping assist. The towing capacity increases from 1,400 to 2,000 kilograms for the plug-in hybrid versions called e-hybrid. That's a gain of 600 kilograms, which could make all the difference for owners of caravans, trailers, or boats. Audi is also enhancing all connectivity features. The Android-based multimedia system now includes new apps like Microsoft Teams for those who absolutely want to hold meetings while driving at 200 km/h on the highway. The wireless charger goes from 15 to 25 watts, and rear passengers now have 3 USB ports. Audi is also taking the opportunity to install a new steering wheel with controls that combine a touch surface and a haptic feedback scroll wheel. It's a divisive choice because many manufacturers, like Volkswagen, who own Audi, are gradually going back to physical buttons to offer better ergonomics. And finally, the lineup will be expanded starting July 23rd with a brand new engine. A 2-liter turbocharged gasoline engine with 265 horsepower, paired with Quattro all-wheel drive. This version is likely to be very rare in France since it will be heavily penalized. Its price starts at 66,000 euros. That's almost 80,000 euros in additional penalties. As for the rest of the lineup, orders are already open. Prices start at 45,900 for the classic Q3 and 48,000 for the Sportback. The prices haven't changed. Knowing that at this price, for the 150 horsepower version, 4 cylinders, 1.5-liter gasoline engine, the penalty is only, in quotes, between 1,900 and 2,500. Stellantis is also innovating when it comes to engines. At Stellantis, they still don't want to start developing a new V8 engine. Instead, Stellantis has decided to continue working on and developing their V6, named Hurrikan, in the hope that one day it will manage to convince potential customers that it is more interesting than the V8. There's already the 420 horsepower version of the Hurrikan, and another version with a bigger turbo that makes 550 horsepower. And now, thanks to even higher turbo pressure and another new engine mapping, Stellantis thinks it will be able to get more than 600 horsepower out of this engine. This potential isn't just theoretical. Outside tuners, not from Stellantis, have already achieved over 800 horsepower for several months now. From this almost stock engine, just by tweaking the electronics a little bit, we still don't know exactly which vehicle this engine will end up in. There's a better chance this will happen with American brands like Jeep, rather than Italian brands like Maserati. which for now only gets the V6 Nettuno, which has other advantages. Stellantis, with this new version, aims to address criticism from enthusiasts nostalgic for legendary V8s, including the Ferrari V8. The goal is clear: to show that the Hurrikan is not just a replacement, but an engine capable of creating its own legend. That's it for today's news. I hope you found the video interesting. If that's the case, as always, please show your support by liking, subscribing for future videos, and becoming a supporter via the join button below. See you again tomorrow for more car news. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.